Security lockdown in effect.
So I started off in a small area. There's no enemies around, just to give the player enough, feel for controls and explore around. I did put a few enemies, but they're way up ahead, as you'll see now. This is just so the player can get used to combat after they got used to the controls and shooting and everything. And if they already know how to use the glory kills, then they'll do that. If not, they can just shoot from safe space. I purposely made the front door denied so they can get to know about using the consoles. They usually explore around and then find that that's the only thing that they could interact with, since there's color in it. And I customized the text so that it's locked, corresponding with the locked door. Once you press it, it's open.
To the UAC Mars facility.
And visually, the door is open. I added these two enemies, since they'll be appearing quite a lot right afterwards, in first wave especially. And this guy, I added it so the player can learn what he is, since he is a hazard when you shoot him a couple of times, and he does appear in the first wave. So as soon as the player recognizes what the enemy is, not just to stay clear from it, then they'll be good. Here I made the front box to the left right there obvious, but apparently in the playtest that we had, it wasn't so obvious. This little box right here, I added light and a lighted pad to hopefully guide the player to it, but it apparently wasn't enough. And so I was debating whether to give it more light or just make something colorful to give it more attention. But then I found that the players would nonetheless explore the room, and so I was debating either to make it obvious or let the players explore the room rather than guiding them through every single step. And because I wanted them to know that, hey, there's a red key card door, there's a yellow key card door, that this pad is not interactable, and so that the only thing left is that power switch. I added these items as respawning, since this is going to be the central hub after their first wave. So here we restore power, as mentioned by the voiceovers. Restore power.
Power online.
I changed the ambience, so the colors are back now that the power is restored. And the wave starts.
Reduced to minimum safe levels. Lockdown disengaged.
So as a reward for beating the first wave, I give them a weapon a bit right after this. I set up a POI text to let them indicate where they're supposed to go now after the wave has finished, letting them know that this is now interactable, as before it wasn't, now that the power is back on. So the door is open. Here's the reward, which is a shotgun. Here they have to double jump to get up, so that'll be the one solution they have to getting up there, double jumping. And here's where I put in a secret. I added that visual green shield to let them know that there's something there, and then they have to find a way to get it, and the way to get it is up here. And so they get it, have some life. Although on second thought, it might be useful to put something else, but at the moment I was just working with health and shields. And given that there's a boss coming up here, so I set up the mini boss. I doubled his health so he can be quite a bit of a challenge in an enclosed space. He spawns once the player enters. And I've set up his AI to be on hunt. So even if the player dies, this monster will keep on haunting the player, because since death is kind of cheap in these cases, in this level, like you respawn, you can keep going, you respawn in a wave, you can keep going, so sometimes the death is not as big of a punishment. So to keep the player on edge, I had it so the AI hunts down the player wherever they are. In this case, I added a checkpoint in the hub since it made sense to respawn in the safe location. And here, demonstrating, hey, here's the player, here's the AI keeping the player on edge. Like, not even here, he's safe. There is one thing that I noticed that I had to accommodate with, was that there is a bug with that boss. Sometimes he would glitch through the roof and escape, and sometimes leaving the player stuck in lockdown. So what I did as a solution in case that ever did happen was leave that door not in lock mode and add a panel here to disable the lockdown. In case, in case that rare occurrence does happen, they're not stuck here and have to restart the game. Like, they can keep going. So, keep going with the theme that it's a dimensional rush, so I had it so like you're going through all dimensions, beating like a hard wave or a boss. And I added this little interactable right in the middle, so that's noticeable, it catches your attention, and leads you down here to get ready for a challenge, basically. I gave them a weapon, since I know it is a little difficult, so just to be fair with the player, like they can do it, I gave them a stronger weapon. And I added all these props to make it a little spooky, including the effects, the blood drips. It might be overdone, but there wasn't a steady paced blood drips, just that streams of it, so I used it. And I added an enemy here, hoping to keep the player on edge, making sounds like that, like make them wonder where's the enemy in this hallway. And I added this berserk mode right here to help the player, again, with the upcoming challenge that's about to happen. And I added a key card over here, which won't be shown until they finish the challenge, or else they would get the key card and not play the challenge at all.